Every year, millions of people spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on supplements for their health. And yet, many people are not only taking the wrong supplements, they're taking them the wrong way. And we're going to be delving into that. And a major event has occurred and is occurring today that we want to touch on. And all of this right after. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your host, Scott Paton. Joining us is our other host, Martin Pytela, health engineer. How are you doing today, Martin?
It's great. I'm doing good.
Awesome.
And you are supposed to ask me an important question.
I'm going to. But before I do, we want to make sure everybody understands this. Most health advice is one size fits all, but your biology isn't. We help people move past generic industrial medicine to find the specific natural path that actually restores your unique body to vibrant health. And with that, Martin, hi, George. Good to see you.
Hey.
What happened this morning at 7:30?
7:30 Pacific or 10:30 Eastern, there was a full moon. That was the most significant full moon astrological event. You know how we go in and we start predicting astrology once a year and we give the big picture? There also is the small picture, the here now. Like full moons last only a few hours, right? The moon moves quickly. It's like it's around the world, around the whole clock in 29 and a half days. So it's moving fast. But anyway, what happened was it split half and half square between Mars and Venus. So the forces of femininity and masculinity were at its most conflicted. And the sun represents the masculinity, and it was conjunct with Jupiter, which represents the father and represents the strength and intensity and goodness and lovingness and protection and all the good things that you would expect of fathers. And it was directly opposed by Moon, which was conjunct with Pluto. And Moon is the feminine energies, and Pluto represents the darkness, the burn energy that destroys everything that's not to remain. So it creates this kickoff in the universe that's sort of like you're ringing the bell to say all the good things, amplify that. All the dark things, reveal them. All the masculine and feminine, jam it together and run with it. So this should be the day when massive releases of unexpected or hidden or undisclosed or withheld information are starting to leak out into the world, into the general consciousness.
And that's exactly what happened this morning.
Oh, how did that happen, Scott?
It so happens that the Senate in the United States have committees, and one of the committees met today, and they subpoenaed Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci was the mastermind behind the whole COVID mess, let us just say, and the experimental gene therapy that was unleashed upon the world. And so he is sitting before the senators. The Democratic senators are saying that he is a hero, and the Republican senators say there's been very few men as evil as Dr. Fauci in the last 50 odd years. So I know who I agree with, but
he has proven All you have to do is go find the book written by Robert Kennedy that says The Real Dr. Fauci.
That's right. You'll find out all about him. And it didn't just start 5 years ago. It's been going on for a long time. So he has been raked over the coals, and 111 times he pleaded the Fifth Amendment, which is
That's conflicting, Scott, because I know the legalities of it. When you are pardoned, you are no longer entitled to use that. You should be, in fact, told this is invalid, and you cannot say, I would incriminate myself, because you have already been absolved of your criminality.
Right. And he was told that on more than one occasion.
Oh.
And one of the senators took it to an extreme. He said, Dr. Fauci, what is the color of your tie? I'm on advice of my lawyers, and I'm pleading the Fifth.
He actually pled fifth on confirming the
color is the carpet. On advice of my dietitian, on advice of my health coach, dirtbag George. You're absolutely right. And so you bring up a very interesting point, because first of all, he was told that it's, he could have just admitted everything and we could have started healing, but no. He would never be seen in public again. I mean, he would have to go into hiding, because anyone that saw him would kill him. But he would be absolved, right? But now it's kind of like, well, what happens when you plead the Fifth, but you don't have the right to plead the Fifth because you have, he's in a catch-22, right? Because there's that. Okay, so now we've got him there. But let's suppose for a second that he answered everything. And he said, well, I have a pardon. So, okay, why not? The problem is that there's some question as to whether any of the pardons by Joe Biden are valid, because they were all using AutoPen, and they don't think that, in fact, an argument could be made that he was mentally incompetent at the time and didn't know anything about it. So if you do not know that your AutoPen is going to be absolving Martin of any wrongdoings, then it doesn't apply, because you've got to be of sound mind, blah, blah, blah. So he's got these kind of two things. Which one is going to be worse, right? And so he pled the Fifth, and we'll see what happens. But basically, what you just said about the astrology, about things that were hidden, you get no more public than a Senate committee hammering you, right?
Yeah.
And he's been involved in malfeasance concerning AIDS since the 80s. Absolutely right, George. And I think there was a few things before AIDS that he was involved in too that were really not good. So how much of that comes to light and everything else, I guess we'll see. Right now it's focused on the COVID thing. And I think it'll be really interesting. The other thing that was very interesting for me was one of the senators. So I saw 3 of the senators speak and half of another one speak, and then half of a Democratic senator speak. So the Democratic senators, they think, COVID would have killed the world if it wasn't for Fauci coming to our, so again, we're going to have a huge split between people that believe that and people that don't. Hopefully there's more of us that don't. But one of the senators said he had a number of businesses and he sold them all so that he could run for Senate, so that he could be here to get the truth out of Fauci. And he said, don't think for a second that I'm stopping just at this Senate committee. I'm going to be doing everything in my power to take you to justice, which I thought, you hear about, like, why doesn't somebody do something? And then, wow, like this guy sold all of his businesses, ran for the Senate, won his seat, and now he's on this committee hammering Fauci, which was the only reason he sold his business and ran for Senate. So I think that's a pretty good story.
That is actually massive, right?
It really is. And it shows the determination and the anger on the, anti-Fauci side, if I can put it that way. And there was another senator who I thought was just amazing, but I can't remember what he said right now. So our topic today, it is massive, George. So is it a coincidence, Martin, that the moon was in Pluto and Mars was over here and this was there? And the light is getting shone on dark places in the Senate subcommittee.
Yeah, no joking. But listen, this is just the first salvo.
Yeah.
I would expect that we're going to start seeing things about the unexplained aerial events and about the banking issues that go behind the scenes and about the secret deals that are made here, there, and everywhere.
Yep.
Like this should be, like
An
the football.
exciting time.
Like to me, this feels like the football game beginning with the kickoff. And this was the kickoff.
This was the kickoff, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about supplementation. And before we get into it, I want to, George says, and the hits just keep on coming. Yes, they do. Yeah. And that was a hit song, if I recall correctly. One of the things when I first met you 20 odd years ago, Martin, that blew my mind was I was I was getting a drink of Exla Iridesca every morning for like 30 days. And that 30-day supply ran out. And I was like, oh, well, and then 2 weeks later, I'm like, man, I'm really dragging my butt around. Like, I don't have the energy I used to have. Like, why am I just like not perky like I remember being. And then I realized, I haven't had my Exla for 2 weeks and it's worn off.
Right.
And, I have had all sorts of vitamins and supplements and minerals and protein powders and non-protein powders and everything else for decades. And never once did I stop taking something and go, oh man, I notice a big difference. And I really noticed that with the Exla brand. I really noticed that with the humic and fulvic acid. I really noticed that with the nanosoma. Like there's a number of things where it's like when I run out, and partly because I think I order a month, but then I use it up in 2 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh man, I really regret that, not having it. So with that, let's dive into the supplementation.
Yeah, let's do that. Maybe you should explain the yappy dog.
I'm house sitting in La Paz, and I have my no extra sound microphone, and I have the dogs outside, but there's a lady cleaning, and they get upset when she's cleaning. So I was actually going to say, I think she's going to leave, and I'm going to put you full screen and mute me and let you talk for a little while on supplementation. And I'm going to bring up our presentation. And John, if you can move from slide to slide, that would be.
Okay. Well, all right. So it's me. All right. Let me just get this screen happening here. Well, it goes something like this. There are, let me start with this. In the modern day of the industrial kind, living in an urban environment, in an industrialized society, you're eating food that has been grown using industrial methods. There's a 0 chance that you can get by without actually correcting for the deficiencies of that food. And we need to supplement. That's without question now. How you will do it is up for grabs. And so what we're talking about here is that we have actually the biooptimization as our goal, and the blueprint is for focusing on absorption, not what you put in, but what you actually get out of it. And then how much of it you take and how efficient is it. Please move the slide. And so the thing, could you go back? No, not there. There. And thank you. Which the story is, even if you have the best of supplements, if you take it incorrectly, you are going to end up wasting money because it's not harmonizing with what your body needs. Critical errors in type, dosage, and combinations. Now we go for the next slide. John, are you controlling it? Thank you. So the first trick is the RDA illusion. You know, the controllers. There's the FDA that has been tasked with deciding what's good for us. And there are methods by which we decide what is reasonable. And the RDA, the Recommended Daily, what is the A? I think, I forget now, but it's Recommended Daily. The survival metric, there's a tiny little red line at the bottom of the left side of the screen, just below that. When they tested it on soldiers returning from the Second World War, and they tested how much of any one substance is going to allow for an illness not to manifest. And George, thank you for sticking in your awesome intelligence. Allowance. We will allow you to take only this much. It's backwards. It's sort of like alimony, you know, you share as little as possible. Anyway, that's what they calculated. So the most famous example is the vitamin C, where the enough to not get symptoms of illness was 150 milligrams a day. The optimum is somewhere around 10,000. Anyway, so that's why you see the thin red line on the left side and the big fat blue line on the right side, which is what your body would thrive on. There's a huge difference between absence of illness and presence of wellness. And that's what we should be going for.
Yeah, and if you just have the absence of illness, you're very close to getting the illness, right? Like, I mean, if you've got this much leeway of, say, vitamin C, you're going to be doing a lot better than if you have this. When something happens, it's you use it all up, and then something else happens. Now you've got no vitamin C to be extreme.
In my life, it's known as scraping the bottom of the jar.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Somebody's I'm not multitasking anymore. She's gone. The dogs are in. They're happy. I gave them a little treat, and we're back in business. All right. So let's look at the dosage matrix.
Right. So here are some examples from the RDAs where, for example, vitamin D3 is established at 600 to 800 IUs, when in fact 10,000 or even 50,000 IUs per day is just fine. We find that the 10,000 is about the low end for most people. Now, D3 happens to be generated from the fats that are on your skin when you expose your skin, bare skin, to the sunlight.
I know a very interesting dog fact about vitamin D. I don't know if it's 3 or 1 or 2, and that is that dogs don't make it, but their fur does. So they'll go and sit right in the sun, and I see that, like here, it's a tropical sun. It's 100 degrees out. I let the dogs into the backyard, and they go and they sit on the concrete in the sun, which has got to be like super hot. They bake. Yeah, and then they come in, and I'm watching them lick themselves, and I wondered why that was. And then some article appeared, and it says, yeah, like they're licking the vitamin D3 off of their fur, and that's how they get it.
You know what's funny? Vitamin D3 commercially is made from lanolin, which is extracted from the sheep's wool.
Oh. And the sheep is outside all the time.
Yeah, and they probably make it that way too. I don't know it for a fact, but I know that it's extracted from lanolin. Anyway, so the darker your skin, the more pigment protection you have, the longer the exposure that you require.
Right.
And if you live an indoor life, as most of us do, where you get up, walk to the car, drive to the office, work for hours, drive home, stop at the mall, on the way home, go to the gym after the mall.
Still inside. Hey, Obamanism. Good to see you back here.
Obamaism. Okay. What's that mean? Does it
Yeah,
mean happy things or bad things or what things?
the meaning of life.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump in here too with something like there's a fellow who I've gone to a conference or two of his called David Wolf, and I
Yeah.
believe he's in Hawaii. And it was very interesting because now we're not recommending this for anybody. I just thought what he said was interesting. He says, when I get something, I try to push it to see, what is the limit of what I can take, right? Like, so instead of having one pineapple a day, I'll have 5 pineapples a day and see what happens, or whatever the product is. And I think sometimes we're because of this survival dose, the recommended daily allowance, it's kind of like that becomes a little bit of a ceiling where it's like, oh no, I've had 900 IU of vitamin D. I better not have any more. Where he's got the opposite of like, well, let's just check and see and take some more extra. And one of the things I have here as an example is fulvic. This is super fine, but I have a number of fulvic. I always have fulvic around. Hey, sorry, the door closed and the dog thought someone was there. And I took a little bit too much, and I was like detoxing, which most people would say you've got a cold and a flu, but I knew I didn't have a cold and a flu. I knew I was detoxing. And I thought, well, okay, so that's a little too much.
Yes.
But then right? Like you try this stuff and you say, okay, it's like maybe you got way more energy than you normally have. And you go, wow, like I've been taking way too little of this stuff. I should be taking way more. And, and I'm not saying, get a bottle and chug the whole bottle at once. Take some and see, take some and see, take some and see. And Martin, you had told me about what would happen to me if I had too much fulvic acid, and you were right. I just didn't know how much too much was. Now I do.
Yeah, that's great. So, anyway, so those are the examples on the screen, right? They tell you, oh, don't take more than 100 milligram of vitamin C, when in fact you should be doing probably 100 times that much. 100 times that much.
Yeah.
Similar story, vitamin B1. I take 100 mg of B1 every day. It deals with energy, digestion, brightness of your mind, and so on, right? If I were taking I'm taking 100 times more than what the RDA is.
Yeah, and that's where health lives, when you have an abundance of stuff.
Yeah. Similar for iodine, right? Interestingly, iodine is dosed depending on your ancestors. People who lived near the coasts had way greater access to seaweed, which is the most common source of iodine because it comes from the oceans. So some of us are genetically predetermined to need much more, 10 to 100 times more than the inlanders who somehow got used to living on the inland without the seaweed.
Yeah, and that's why we know one size does not fit all. So our friend Obamanism says, oh, too bad we can't let food be thy meds nowadays. You're absolutely right.
Well, you can and should, and what you really require is being the
grower of the food.
Well, either you grow your own or you listen to guys like Scott and I and somebody else too. We're not the only source of wisdom around the planet. But once you figure it out, you need to know that you need to add to the food you eat. There's zero chance that you can get by without supplementation.
Right.
All right, let's hit the next.
And Mr. Obamaism says it's all in the isms wrapped into one, made it up 13 years ago, sort of. At least you laugh at it. How come potassium isn't on the chart? Well, it's not on the chart because the chart is not comprehensive. It's just
this is just a few samples. Potassium has a daily dose of 4,500 mg, and the recommended dose is 100. They don't even make tablets bigger than 100 mg. So you would have to take 45 of them to hit the daily RDA. Anyway, could you show the next slide?
Yes.
That is the point.
Let's fix the tank, not the fish.
When your fish are not thriving in the aquarium, is it the fish's fault or is it the fault of the person in charge of it? Right?
I'm in charge of a tank right now, and I have to say it's the fish's fault.
Because they live in an engineered environment.
Yeah.
The example is this, right? If you are engineering your environment incorrectly, replacing the fish is not going to work. It's the environment that's the problem.
Yep. That's right. So you need to look at your environment, and like your environment includes your kitchen, and it includes your garden in the backyard. And you need to sort of take control of that environment. And it may be, you don't watch 3 hours of Netflix on Tuesday night. You go to the farmer's market and you get organic farm-made food that the farmer just down the road made, right? And you get to know him. You get to know how he does things. Hopefully you get a card, and then it's like, I'm out of radishes, and you can call him up and just stop by and get it yourself.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? The Europeans do things differently. They pay more for their food, but they grow it at a high quality relative to what we do, right?
Yeah.
In America, we have industrial farming at industrial scale with loads of fertilizer, loads of herbicide, pesticide toxicity, you name it. And so the Europeans in general pay about double for their food. But interestingly, they pay only about a third for their health care.
Right.
And their quality of life is, in fact, better.
You remind me of the tire salesman that says, you can pay me now or you can pay me later.
Yeah.
Get good tires now and be safe, or have an accident and I'll fix your car.
Yeah.
All right. So what about this cofactor thing? What's that about?
It's all complex. Like, for example, that vitamin D3 we mentioned a little while ago, it gets shunted the wrong ways if you don't have vitamin K2 with it. Without K2, it will harden your arteries. With K2, it'll deposit in your bones. What I mean is the calcium regulation.
Right.
I somehow skipped a step here. The D3 is in charge of calcium deposits. With K2, it goes in your bones. Without the K2, it goes in your arteries. Anyway, everything has a cofactor. Everything has a catalyst. And
so it's kind of like little furnaces. And if you have a little furnace and you don't put any wood or coal in it, it doesn't matter how many times you throw a match in, it's not going to burn.
Yeah, let me try this one on you. So if you analyze an apple, you have water and vitamin C and sugar and some fiber and pectin and some vitamins, vitamin C and a little bit of vitamin B. So if I pile them in neat little piles and put them on a tray and hand them to you, and I say to you, make me an apple, what's that going to be like?
Yeah, it's not going to be an apple.
Never. Nature over laboratory.
Yep.
Most times.
All right, so we get the cofactor.
Oh, yeah, this is where I'm reminded of it. See, it's like, for example, the vitamin D3 is required. And if you want to deal with night vision, you need to have on board both zinc and copper and vitamin A. And if you're worried about your bones, you need to have boron on board. And see, like the vitamin B1 is involved in blah, blah, blah. These are very complex, interrelated, interconnected effects.
Yeah. And we have a question from Obamonism that I think one of our slides coming up is going to deal with. So we'll just hang off on that. Okay. So here's the chronobiology. So when do you take what you take?
Yeah. Timing, of course, matters. It's sort of like if you were running your car and you would first hit the spark and then you injected the fuel, it's going to be backwards. It will never happen, right?
Yeah.
So circadian rhythms. Actually, there's the next slide that's going to explain it really well. which is this. You have the morning, midday, and late of the
Evening.
day, evening. And what you want is in the morning, you want to start it up and feed it stuff. So the morning, you want mostly the water solubles, which would be the minerals like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, together with water soluble vitamins, which will be the C and B. And you also want the iodine. So that's your morning drive, typically before you eat food.
Right.
And then you hit the midday and you start eating food and you want the fat solubles. So, for example, the fat soluble vitamins are A, D, E, and K. Those are to be taken with food, not on an empty stomach.
Yeah, it's
I'm
important to know.
simplifying again, but that's the story. And
Right.
then finally, the evening you want to do calming stuff. And in the evening, you want to hit yourself with things that will undo the stressy side of your day, which, if you understand your metabolic type, you would know whether fats or carbs are the calming food to you. So you would want to know that. That's where...
Yeah, when you do it the wrong way, you're up all night wondering why you've got all this energy.
Yeah, insomnia is a characteristic of people whose sympathetic side is overactive. That's regulated by the combination of food. The other things, the most relaxing mineral is magnesium. The most relaxing food is chlorophyll, deep green, dark things.
Okay, so pillar number 4 is synthetics.
Yeah. So, of course, you can make stuff from petroleum for much less than nature makes it. Right? Like you can buy cheap crap. So this little iodine starch test, right? When you drip iodine on something, it will show you whether it is or isn't filled with maltodextrin,
Which is a sugar that we don't want people to get.
Maltodextrin is a cheating of a sweet tasting substance that adds a load of energy and sweetness without providing anything useful to you. Nutritionally, all it does is empty calories.
And we have too many empty calories and not enough nutrition.
Yeah. And you can mask poor taste of ingredients with maltodextrin.
Right. Now there's 2 synthetic items that are helpful.
Yeah. These are well researched artificial solutions. Like, for example, the vitamin B1 is naturally water soluble, but you can bind it chemically to a fat molecule, so that will become fat soluble, known as benfotiamine, is phenomenally good at dealing with it's called neuropathy, and it happens mostly to people who suffer from diabetes.
So which good thing for them.
Magic circle, right? If you don't fix your diet and go matching your diet to your genetics, you probably end up with diabetes type of things, and then you can find a chemical shortcut for it. The long shortcut, well, not a shortcut, is changing your diet.
Right.
And the other one is Todka, that's transursolic something acid. Well, I forget. It's a
bile salt.
Yeah, it's a bile salt that mimics what is made in gallbladder.
Yeah, gallbladder. It clears the gallbladder sludge, eliminating.
There's the description: cleaning your bile ducts and clearing gallbladder sludge. You know what's interesting? That is yet another symptom of eating the wrong diet.
Right.
But if you have gallbladder problems, then Todka is your friend.
Okay, so here is the upgrade. You want to discard magnesium oxide and get magnesium glycinate.
Right. So,
because here's the thing too, like you could be taking a supplement, and is it absorbed by the body? generally
Yeah.
speaking. No, yes, and then
Yeah, right. And so the magnesium oxide is awesome for people who suffer from constipation. It's great, and it's inexpensive. All right. And so then there's the cyanocobalamin, that's the people with the MTHFR problems. That's a genetic thing. If you are a poor methylator, you need to buy methylated versions of things.
right.
And so methylcobalamin is methylated B12, and methylfolate is methylated folic acid. By the way, pain point number one, if you are eating carbohydrates and if you're eating regular wheat, it's going to be labeled either enriched or fortified.
Right.
And they will fortify and enrich it with folic acid, which is a man-made synthetic thing that causes a lot of trouble to undermethylators.
Going back a second, we were talking about the gallbladder. What if you don't have a gallbladder? Would the tukta help?
Yes, it will, because it will keep emulsifying the bile. And we have a herbal analog to it. It's called Digest Ease LG. It's a herbal tincture that also does a very similar effect.
Right.
Go on, next slide.
So the danger of blind supplementation, particularly iron and calcium, if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Do you want to buy chalk? Probably not. You may as well go buy something smarter, like maybe coral calcium, or at least buy it in the form of plants rather than of powder.
Right. And the naming also, like calcium carbonate, that's carbonated water. Like it sounds like that should be good, right?
Well, I mean, this describes the chemical. It's CO3, so that's just normal stuff. It's carbonic acid reacted with calcium. This is the most common salt of calcium. And
right.
Ferrous sulfate, that's SO4, that's sulfuric acid, the battery acid reacted with iron, and that's what they put into cereals.
Right.
You are better off eating things like organ meats.
Yeah. These two, one gives you clogged arteries and accumulates in joints, which is why you have painful joints, and the other one feeds bad microbes and damages the liver.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, great.
So we have a bio-optimization protocol.
Yeah. Not RDA, not just survival. Go for thriving.
Yeah.
And baseline. Yeah, okay. Sugar and refined seed oils are problematic. We know that.
Yeah.
Don't buy isolated, buy complex. And be mindful of the fact that morning is different from midday, is different from evening.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to that. I need to spend some time figuring that out.
Yeah. And now the bioavailable forms. Let's show the products that we wanted to highlight.
Okay. Do you want to start with the ultravitamin?
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. So what we have here is one of the things is the form. One form is called water soluble, and the other one is called lipophilic or liposomal. And liposome is when you actually use something, an emulsifier like phosphatidylcholine, to engulf the water soluble things, and that makes the stuff about 8 to 10 times more absorbable to a normal cell. So when you have nano-emulsified, that means that this is highly absorbable. So you get about 10 times as much absorption relative to the regular stuff. This is a multivitamin, all things included.
And then one of our favorites is the True Hope. That's an amazing story. If you do a search
that's
on
in
True Hope.
capsules. This is a methylated, advanced, multi-mineral, amino acid, and vitamin all in one. Go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say their story is really amazing, and their perseverance, and it's just wonderful. So we really love supporting them for that reason. And then
The product
They're-
is great because
the
it
product-
helps to rebalance the neurotransmitters for most everyone who has challenges in their nervous system,
Right.
which is a lot of people. 75% of prescriptions that are filled deal with emotional wellness, with emotional state dysregulation. This product was designed specifically to restabilize the
Yeah.
inner terrain. All right.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference if you, yeah. And so now we have Intramax.
So here's an interesting liquid 415 ingredient, multi-mineral, multivitamin, trace minerals, you name it all, made from food. So this is like cooking everything down to make it all in one. It's got humic and fulvic acid in it, and it has all manner of stuff. This is the everything but the kitchen sink.
A really, really good foundational multi.
So if you are into liquid, ready to use, take a shot from my fridge. This is your good friend.
Yep. You just pour it into the cap, take a shot.
Yeah. One thing about this that's not perfect is that because it's liquid, they actually had to shut off the enzymes. That's
Right.
because it would continue to ferment and it would
Right.
just blow up the bottle. So the next alternative is to get something that's dry in a dormant state. So here is 350 plus ingredients from the plant world with a similar range of goodness and wellness packed into the bottle. This is the one that Scott mentioned that 20 years ago.
Right.
He was
And
taking.
still every cup, I rotate through the Excellent products, but every 2 or 3 months, this is my go-to because it's such a good foundational product.
Yeah. So this one is dormant until you mix it with something like water or juice or something liquid, and then you drink it. You can put it into a smoothie, and then it comes alive and wakes up. And what's interesting, when you look at the daily dose RDA, not RDA, the comparison of the RDA, it doesn't have huge percentages, but they are all absorbable. And this is also
Right.
an interesting loop that I want to close. When you are taking artificial or pharmaceutical or synthetic type of supplements, for them, the RDA applies because that's what they were testing. They were testing industrial synthetic supplementation. When it's plant-made, it's actually highly absorbable. And so it's vastly different between what is ingested and what is utilized. And with this product, the
Right.
utilization is super high. Ta-da.
Awesome.
I'm done. We're over time by far.
All right. So any last comments before we sign off, Martin?
Whole ingredients made of natural ingredients beats the synthetic stuff by far. By far.
And my comment is going to be, get on YouTube, watch the Senate committee hammering on Fauci, watch the people that are protecting Fauci, and then write a couple emails to your congressman and your senator telling them what you think they should be doing to that guy. How's that?
Not just to that guy.
Yeah, and all the people that supported him.
Vote with
Thank
what
you,
you
George.
see. Good day.
All right, so this has been the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Martin, for taking time out of your busy day. Make sure you like, subscribe, and
yes,
share.
Yes, answer to Obama's
We do offer an affiliate program, and you can get in contact with either of us. We can talk you through it, or go to life-enthusiast.com. Go to the bottom, you'll see affiliates, and you can join up.
Yep. Play with us. We love
Play
good
with us.
people.
That's right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
My body's a temple, but the walls are cracked. Stuck in the rubble of the years I've stacked. Stagnation in my veins like a toxic whispers in the wind, but I gotta rebuild. I must.